Greetings everyone, and welcome to Animated Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Hazbin Hotel, Season 2.
Yep, Hazbin Hotel, Season 2, Episode 1. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. That's Age. We're back for more Animated Night in the Dojo. And, well, Hazbin's back. It's been like a year and a half or so since Season 1 wrapped up. And here we are back on Prime with some ads. So if you're watching ad-free, we have an ad break, like, what is that? Maybe like 20 minutes into the episode, maybe like 18, that will be unavoidable for us because I'm not giving Amazon more money. So we are now doing timer reactions and reviews. So if you guys want to see the live reaction, watch along with us, that kind of thing, it's over on Patreon. So that link will be down there in the description for my Patreon and all that stuff. Charging, obviously. But just had to kind of split it up for everything that happened with my other channel, that kind of thing. If you want to see what happened with that, that is the first video. It's YouTube channel. Patreon, just go back to the YouTube. It's there if you want that explanation. But anyway, that's what we have to do now. Timer reactions for Hazbin, since there are going to be at least a ad. I went through the pre-roll ad already because there's a pre-roll ad. So I figured, you know, just go through that before we get started here on both these episodes, since they are releasing 2 episodes a week for the next month. So not super binge culture at the very least, but still questionable from a business standpoint, because you could just get a, you know, Prime trial if you were only interested in Hazbin and just get it for free. So not feeling bad for the multi-billion-dollar company at all, but this goes back to my whole thing of what, you know what I mean? Like when Netflix does it, or I don't know if some of you guys might remember my rant from insurance companies not wanting to do preventative maintenance. Like when we had a pipe that was pseudo leaking under our kitchen, and it was going to cost like $300 to like reroute it through the attic and just, you know, solve the problem. And the insurance company was basically like full zap brand again. No, call us when it's a catastrophe. You know, like when you have to jackhammer your whole kitchen apart. That's when we'll do something about it. That kind of business sense is mind-boggling to me. It's like, so you'd rather pay like 20 grand to redo my kitchen instead of like this $300 quick fix that our plumber knocked out in an afternoon. Mind-boggling decisions from business. And it's kind of the same thing with this. Again, not feeling bad for the billion-dollar company. I suggest you guys take advantage of that if you have an interest in Hazbin, and just get a freaking free Prime trial and watch it this month, and then don't renew it. Pretty simple. So I'm sure there are plenty of people going to the high seas these days for a lot of stuff, because, you know, we don't do a lot of politics on this channel. But just as a quick aside too, since it's, you know, in our industry, basically a lot of luxuries these days are cheap, whereas the necessities are out of control, and this would be one of the luxuries, obviously. So you might as well take advantage of it while you can, because Prime just keeps going up in price, as does most things. But still, if I didn't have Prime and didn't use it a lot for pretty much all of its features and, you know, stuff like that, I would just be doing the free trial for this. You know what I mean? So, if you're a fan of Hazbin, just grab the free trial, watch it in the month's time. And once again, if Amazon and all these companies continue to make boneheaded decisions in both directions, then you might as well take advantage of the ones that benefit the consumer. Just saying. So either way, excited for this. You know, we wrapped up last season with Penchas taking one for the team and then rebuilding the hotel, leading to what everybody assumes is going to be the season of the V's, which Vivian already confirmed that this season was going to be that, so we knew that was coming. But looking forward to that, everything that they've alluded to, stuff like that. They are also going to be doing Hell of a Boss on maybe Prime, or did that go to HBO?
No,
Who
it's
got
Amazon.
that? It went to Amazon too. Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is that since Hell of Us has been picked as an IP, has been picked up by Amazon now, there's going to be actual crossover between the two series rather than them just being their own separate things in the same universe.
Right.
And now we're getting like full-length episodes of Helaba and stuff like that, and it's supposed to start up like sometime shortly after the season of Hazbin is over.
Right. So, as for our schedule, with One Punch Man not getting a simuldub, which I think everybody assumed was going to be a thing, but it apparently is not a thing, so I've slotted that out, even though there's a bunch of drama that I kind of wanted to see firsthand, but we're going to have to wait for the dub to come out, because that's what we do. So, since One Punch Man is out, and this is getting 2 episodes a week, as opposed to doing like a dual episode kind of reaction review, we have enough spaces in our schedule now to just do these 2 episodes when they come out on Wednesdays recorded, and then they will release on Saturday and Sunday in the 2 open slots, since there is no One Punch Man on Sunday. So that kind of worked out, sort of. So yay for no simuldub for One Punch Man, I guess. So anyway, that being said, again, there is going to be an ad break, and when that comes up, I will mention it. So I'll just pause the timer at that point. So if you guys are watching in a place that doesn't have ads, if you've paid the extra, I don't even know how much it is to go ad free on Prime Video anymore. At first it was like $3, so aka another $36 a year. No, that's a solid no for me. I grew up with watching ads every 15 minutes on TV. It really doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? I grew up with that crap. Every 15 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes of ads. A minute of ads here or there in a pre-roll, that's nothing to me. There's a lesson for all you kids out there. You complaining about 1 minute of ads every so often. Well, we had 3 to 4 minutes of ads when we were growing up watching cartoons every 15 minutes. So...
Yeah, the only thing that really bothers me about ads these days is pre-roll ads being on like short form video content, where it's like, oh, I'm watching a like 5-minute YouTube video, but I have to watch 2 minutes of ads to get to it.
Yeah, obviously.
Or like if some people really dial their ads up on Twitch to 11 and have it be like 3 minutes of ads every like 8 minutes.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm just saying, I'm not an advocate for any of that crap, but it could be much worse because we grew up with it. For real. If you're in your 30s, we grew up with that stuff. This is small potatoes compared to what we had to deal with on, watching whatever on Cartoon Network or wherever. It didn't matter. That's how broadcast television works. It's ads every 15 minutes or sooner. If you're watching like a sporting event and like an inning ends quickly or there's a timeout or something, they do the picture-in-picture. So I really think they need to go more towards the picture-in-picture stuff, because let's be real, guys. If there's an advertisement for something, 99, well, more like 95% of the time, you don't need the ads audio to know what they're selling. It's like, oh man, it's Coke or insurance commercial. Yeah, we get it. And they could just have subtitles. I think ad companies could do a lot better if they just had picture-in-picture. In the case of like live streaming, like if you're streaming on Twitch, YouTube, wherever, if it just kind of like pushes you to the side and shows the ad, that's fine. You still get the audio from the streamer or whatever you're watching, but the ad plays, but it doesn't need audio. It can all just be subtitled or whatever. We know. We've seen that Hyundai commercial 800 times. I get it. I don't need to hear John Cena talk about it. You know what I mean? Most ads don't need the audio. Straight up. And if it's a miracle drug commercial, do you really want to hear all those side effects and bum yourself out? So, anyway.
They need the audio so that way they can get you with the catchy jingles.
But yeah, totally, because I need to hear the Liberty jingle for the 9 billionth time in my life. You know what I mean? I don't care. It is just one of those things. So I think that would be the reasonable future of ads, is just have them be silent and just they're there. You're still getting the point across. People can see. You know what I mean? And a lot of people just tab away from ads online or wherever, or mute when ads happen anyway. So what's the point of having sound? But anyway, mini rant about ads aside, I'm excited for this season, even though it's going to be a quick 1 month affair. These are 28-minute episodes, so very ReZero, if you guys know that show. Generally speaking, shows like this have like a 22, 23-minute runtime because of aforementioned ad breaks on television. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the extra 5 minutes. So that adds up to pretty much a whole extra episode when it comes to the season. So anyway, we're going to push some buttons and get going here. So if you're on Patreon, we'll get the timer stuff going for you. And if you're on YouTube, we'll see you on the other side of that edit for the review and discussion. So here goes something. Well, alrighty then. There you guys have it. One hell of a first episode. Vaggy's name is changing. I didn't catch what she said here. So luckily we ran back over that, as I had to reset this player multiple times because of madness. So as we can see here, a lot of denizens of hell got the wrong idea of what was happening here. So that's a real bummer. We got Baxter, which, you know, was what he was alluded to a while ago, that kind of thing. So it'll be
yeah, when the show was still like in early production, when they were like making the pilot, Vibsy like showed off several characters that were going to be she revealed a bunch of characters that were going to be in the show in general, but she released Baxter as one of the people that was supposed to be main cast.
Right.
But we just hadn't seen him yet.
Right. So yeah, he'll probably be an interesting addition. He is not Penchus 2.0. Unfortunately for Charlie, she's going through that whole, you know, Penchus died for us phase, which he didn't, but she now knows that. But she might not know it because she might think Emily was some, like, stress-induced hallucination. So there's that. So we'll have to see what the deal is with that. Maybe Emily could have, like, left something tangible. I don't know, like one of her feathers. Like, I was actually here, but she doesn't know that Charlie's having a mental breakdown. So that was like a quick aside for her to just kind of pop into hell and be like, yo, this is working. Just keep doing it, but I gotta go.
Yeah, Heaven's having their own crisis of identity right now with the fact that there's a sinner among them.
Right. So that's probably not going to be fun for a lot of people up there. Multiple different ones, because Adam was obviously against it. And Sarah was not a fan of it either at the end of the day. So it really felt like Emily was having that whole Charlie role of like, yeah, why can't we do this? I don't get it. This is literally what the rules say. You wrote the rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's the whole thing of like prior to that, they didn't actually have rules for it. No one had ever bothered coming up with it. No one even thought that redemption was even something worth considering as a possibility.
Yep.
But yeah, now everyone's having to rethink things.
Right, since he just kind of appeared there. So there's that. But we got a lot of allusions to different things. You know, Vox and his plan, his delusions of grandeur. We had to talk about that during his Delusions of Grandeur, the musical number. That's literally what that was. That's why I made the Holy Roman Empire joke. Like I said, that'd be like the Duke of like some one province minor back in the day. That's just like, oh man, we're awesome. We should totally take over all of Europe. Really? Well, once again, I get that you guys are a big deal and you're overlords and stuff like that, but no.
Yeah, no, like they're a pretty big deal amongst the overlords. But the overlords are really only a big deal in the Pride Ring. In the grand scheme of things, like even the Goatians, like freaking Stolas is stronger than them. Yeah.
So it's one of those things with all the stuff that Vivzy has like put out in, you know, like extra media and stuff, like, you know, like if you guys watch Bleach, Kubo talks a lot about like different random things of like power scaling and whatnot. Since there's like One Punch Man drama, the author did talk about like that whole Metal Bat thing. He could have taken on Garo before. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like people underselling certain things. And yes, while these guys are overlords and they're a pretty big deal on the Pride Ring, let's not forget there are 7 rings of hell. Okay? This is the Christian Catholic hell. So 7 rings. And while they're a big deal on the Pride Ring, which is where they're at, I mean, I think they don't understand the hierarchy of hell well enough. And, well, it's probably going to come back to bite him in the ass. Whether it's, you know, somebody like Alistair and his deal, that kind of thing. Obviously, the Morning Stars are a big deal. But still, they're like mid-carders, to use a WWE term. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the way it's been like given power scaling wise, at the bottom of the rung you have hellhounds and imps. Then it's average demons like succubi, the envy demons, stuff like that. Then it is the sinners. Above the normal sinners is the overlords. Then you have the Ars Goetia. Then you have the princes. Then you have Charlie and Lilith, and then you have Lucifer at the top.
Right. So, just saying. I mean, it's not always a physical power struggle, but in the case of situations like this, the people above them aren't just going to allow that to happen. You know what I mean? So, unless they somehow coerce the people above them that, taking over heaven is a good idea, which will, with the, natural balance of the universe, in theory, probably not a great plan.
Yeah, Satan in particular is probably not a big fan of that, and like I mentioned during the episode, Lucifer basically just lets Lilith and Satan run hell.
Yeah.
Even though he's the strongest, he doesn't really like to actually manage things.
For those of you who watched Hell of a Boss, we all saw freaking Blitz's trial, and, Lucifer's seat was just empty and full of cobwebs.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, he doesn't really like managing things. He basically only steps in if he needs to basically come in as a show of force to keep like the princes from fighting each other or something.
Right. And we still have no idea why Lilith is gone. What happened 8 years ago? We'll probably get something, some kind of backstory of what happened with that. So there's a lot to get to in this season. I'm not sure if we'll get to all of it. Obviously, we have the initial stuff with Penchus being the first sinner to be redeemed and it being proven as a concept that can function. But at the end of the day, based on their own teachings of their religion, anyone can be redeemed. It doesn't matter if you're in hell already. You know what I mean? Somebody being dead and in hell is part of anybody. You know what I mean? So, by their own doctrine.
Yeah, the big thing with that is just that, Lucifer's a standoff ruler, but God's even worse. He basically just doesn't have any sort of communication with the angels whatsoever, and just kind of left them to do their own thing.
Right. And, well, it will be interesting to see if we get any kind of representation of the God in this show at all. That's going to be something fairly interesting. We'll just have to see. We all know what South Park did with God. So, just saying.
Vibsy has talked about God and, like, given some general, like, basic ideas of what kind of a character he is and stuff like that. But that was one of the main things she said, was just that, like, the Lucifer's standoffish. God is just outright absent. He just does not involve himself with the angels' affairs at all.
Right. Speaking of affairs, you guys see this? You know how it's usually 15 minutes of fame? We've had a couple of those, like, what was one of the more recent ones, like the Hawk Tuah girl. You guys remember that debacle? And then the whole crypto thing, and how she just kind of just exploded. This was like 25 seconds of fame. Like Bumrush becoming an idol, having every terrible thing that could happen to you as an idol, and then boom, you're out of the company. And, like, half of the musical number. So that was impressive. They are obviously trying to sell their own gimmick, as we saw in this entire musical number with this poor person. So
their whole thing is trust us, but they do that through indoctrination. Because, like, all three of them have some form of manipulation. Like, Vox has his hypnosis with his eye there that he's, like, doing to the camera right now. If you pay attention to the backgrounds throughout, like, the first season and stuff like that, Velvet has love potions that she uses to manipulate people.
Right.
And then Valentino has his, like, moth like the scales from his wings.
Yep.
That emotionally manipulate people.
Yep. We saw him do that in the club in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
It's all there, once again. Paying attention to the background in Viv Z's series and certain other series out there these days, especially, is a big deal because you can miss some stuff. And that's why I'm kind of against binge culture, because, well, I'm vehemently against binge culture for initial releases anyway. I mean, you know, if you missed something and you go back and watch it after it's been out for a year, then whatever, yeah. You know, I think for certain, like, I found my, like, happy medium is, like, 8 episodes in an evening of one thing is pushing it for maintaining everything. You know what I mean? But you're still going to maintain the most stuff if you go like 1 or 2 at a time tops in like a week's time.
Yeah. If
you know
if you want good retention, then yeah, it's like an episode every other day of something.
Yep. For what we do, I think we've gotten pretty good at like being able to do like half a core without much of a problem. That kind of thing, but anything more than that, it usually, like, when I think back on our times of watching JoJo's, when we really went hard on trying to catch up on that, I don't remember most of everything. I remember the major bits, but there are certain other subtleties where I'm just like, what happened there again?
Yeah,
and usually that's not a problem for me when we're doing the weekly stuff outside of people's names. That's the only thing that I have a problem with, is when we do multiple shows and I have to remember like 37 names at the beginning of a season. It's like, hold on, just give me a minute.
Yeah, so. I'm generally pretty good with names, but even I still brain fart on them sometimes.
Yep. So 2 episodes in 1 week. Well, once again, not a big deal. I'm just glad it's not the whole season being dropped on one day. You know,
or freaking Arcane's 3 double-length episodes a week.
That was, yeah. I mean, I still remember everything in that, at least. That was like the max, though. You know what I mean? For like being able to retain it and then talk about it during the week and stuff like that. But yeah, 2 should be reasonably manageable. Not really a big deal. There's nothing in this episode that I don't remember like immediately that I shouldn't retain in short term. You know what I mean? Even after we watch the next one here in a minute. So yeah, again, this had pretty much everything that we needed to see, all the characters returning, that kind of thing. Big thing for this season, what's Alistair up to? One of the big things in this season, obviously. What's he up to? What was his original deal? We talked a lot about that in the first season. And what is the like details of his deal with Charlie and how it could affect her? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Alistair's scheme is more of just like an overarching series thing at the moment, not even any specific season. But we keep getting bits and pieces of it here and there. Angel's continuing to make progress as still being probably like the most redeemable member of the cast currently.
Right, because as he said, sorry, I had to fight a freaking spooter on my wall there in real time. I missed, unfortunately, so I'm gonna have a fight on my hands later, I'm sure. But yeah, for Angel, he did say that he was looking into starting therapy, so you know, going down that road.
No, he's over the last month that we skipped, he's already started.
Yeah, started and wants to continue because he's, quote, wanting to talk about feelings and stuff now.
Yeah, he's getting into exploring his feelings.
Yep. So there's that. I don't know if any of the other, like, what you would call staff of the hotel is looking to be redeemed. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, no, Alistair, Husk, and Nifty aren't really trying to be redeemed. Charlie's just kind of hoping that they kind of get interested by proxy, but they're mostly just there to help run stuff.
Yep. So it will be interesting to see what happens with those characters. But right now, Angel Dust is the big one, obviously. Potentially followed by like somebody like Cherry Bomb, because her mixed feelings on Penchus and what he did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it will be interesting to see like what comes of all this. You know, they've set up all kinds of stuff, especially with the fact of, you know, whatever is going on with Lilith, all the stuff that went on with season 1. You know, we got a bigger shot of like this photo here in the background, which in the first season, I believe they more or less like obfuscated Lilith's face. You know what I mean?
We'd seen Lilith's face a few times in like pictures and stuff like that. It's just in like Charlie's flashback, and when she showed up on the beach at the end, we never saw her face.
Yeah. So,
which has a bunch of people speculating that like one of the main theories of the moment is actually that at some point or another, Eve managed to replace Lilith, and Lilith has actually been out of the picture for a lot longer than people realize.
Right. So there's plenty of stuff on the plate for the rest of the season. It's really all I got for this. I'm not sure if I'll be able to skip past the ad. I am not able to skip past the ad or any stills you guys can see here. We, you know, sitting here waiting on doing another ad. So, well, whatever this guy is doing, painting his house or whatever. But I didn't have too much more to say about this one. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. Obviously, we're going to jump into the next episode right here. So this is going to be coming out on Saturday, and then episode 2 will come out tomorrow on Sunday. So that'll be the schedule since One Punch Man is not getting simulcast. So I lifted that right out of the schedule, and now we're doing back-to-back Hazbin on the weekend for the next month. So yay for One Punch Man failing at simulcast. There you go. And then we'll probably be rolling potentially right into Hell of a Bosses next season. So, you know, we'll still be packed with stuff.
The main thing I still have to say about this is one of the big like takeaways I had from season 1 and in the downtime between the seasons is that a lot of people underestimate Velvet. And I do think that that's going to come up in this season, since it's going to be a more V-focused season.
Right. So that's going to be the main focuses of the season. Is obviously the big focus on the V's versus Charlie, and then how Heaven reacts to somebody being redeemed and their brass. You know what I mean? Beyond just Emily being super bubbly and happy about it, you know, there's more than just her, obviously. So we'll probably get more characters like Sarah, the fallout of Adam being killed, that kind of thing. Whatever Lute is going to do, because she is still pissed off, obviously. So
yeah, she still has her vendetta against Charlie and them. I know at some point in the season we're supposed to get Abel, from Cain and Abel, Adam's 2 sons.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's probably most of next episode is just going to be focused on the Heaven side of things.
Yep. So, anyway, we'll leave you guys with this dude who is going to mop his house or something. I don't know what they could potentially be selling here, but I don't care. So, I now know that I can't go past the ad break on these still things. So that's good. Good to know.
I mean, you might have been able to had it not autoplayed.
Yeah, had it not autoplayed and the player would have been, so we'll just have to see. But either way, I need to go grab a still from this episode, as is tradition. As you guys can see, my still from last season still rolling back. But yeah, so that means I'm going to have to watch this freaking ad. So, I'm going to let this ad play, go grab water or something, and then we'll roll into the next recording. So, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us here in the dojo for more animated Night in the Dojo. This was Hazbin Hotel, Season 2, Episode 1, and we're going to roll into watching Episode 2 that will come out tomorrow, once again, same places. So, have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. See you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.